if you're going to be able to hear me so well on here. We'll try it though. Today's topic is going to be arguments/debates. What motivates them? What's the origin of them? What's the purpose of them? And also, how do people view arguments? How do I view arguments? /debate. There's presidential debates going on right now. What does it mean? What does it mean? What's an argument? I call it spiritual warfare. I call every single argument and every single battle spiritual warfare. Why is it spiritual warfare? And what's the alternative to arguments, right? One possible way to look at it would be to see how we end up at wars. How do we end up at wars? Countries don't just say, I don't like that other country over there, so let's bomb the fuck out of them. That may have happened on occasion, but I would say for the most part that's not the standard way of doing business. Very likely there's at least a facade of diplomacy. Our puppet masters or our great leaders at least try to maintain a facade of cooperation with other country leaders. Right? But the thing about countries is that instead of two people arguing, it's essentially thousands of people arguing. And of course, it's a very degenerated way of arguing because of the media, which is owned by large conglomerates /cabal/company /shadow government /deep state, and so on. So it's not exactly the same as a purely voted in decision as far as whether to attack or not by the populace. It's not just exactly that, but that's the way that it theoretically would work. But let's get back to one-on-one arguments, okay? My stance has always been that an argument is not ever won. There's no independent way to verify if an argument is won. Each individual can say, I feel like I won the argument. But there's no external verification. So, instead of that, the way to gauge whether someone is winning or losing an argument, in addition to their mental acuity and clarity throughout, the main factor is, did they become emotionally reactive during the argument at any point? That's a sign that you lost the argument. At any point, if you become emotionally reactive, you've lost the argument. doesn't mean that you are emotionless. It just means, I mean, if you don't emotionally react, it doesn't mean that you're emotionless or you're a robotoid. It just means that you have at least come close to mastering the art of utilizing emotions rather than having them use you. Because if there's no winner at the base level of warfare, which is two people speaking to one another, and if you have two, quote, powerful people, then it's even more important, that discussion. If they can't come to terms as far as heads of countries, then you go to the lower form of argument. Physical anything is the lowest form of arguing. The lowest. It's like gorillas fighting each other. And I'm not saying it's just debasing yourself if you get into a fist fight or something. Sometimes it's necessary, but for the most part, I have always maintained that physical force is the lowest form of coercion, and everything is coercion. Everything is, even if you get your lover to have a bed session with you, you did something that made them want to do that. There's something about you. Maybe it's just your handsome looks. I don't know. So if the argument can be worked out on the person-to-person level at the top of the pyramid, then in the past, we don't do so much physical warfare now because the weapons have become so advanced that it's looped itself back into arguments because of all of the mind control, basically. If you're mind controlling the heads of state, then there never needs to be any physical battle on the battlefield, because the game of chess has become so refined that the tools are applied internally in the bodies of the, quote, leaders. And we still have sort of physical looking skirmishes on the battlefield to provide at least a bit of visual representation of the wars that are going on inside of people's minds. But those are, again, just representations. It's like, when you have two really good chess players who are playing in a Masters tournament, and somebody is relaying the play over to a website, and you can watch it from your home, and you see the pieces moving, or a representation of the pieces moving, but you are not there in the room. You don't see the emotions, you don't see their actual faces. Maybe you see a video shot here and there, but for the most part, you are getting a representation of that battle. You only get one angle of the board. That's a bit of a crude example, but that's what it seems to me that it is, as far as physical warfare, or at least the talk of physical warfare. It's just a visual representation of the internal mental chess game, multi-dimensional chess game that goes on mainly behind the scenes. The hand of the state, which you see on the TV, is like those guys, I don't think, do too much decision making. Anyway, I gotta go. Just some thoughts on what arguments are. Let me know in the comments what you think about arguments. Hope everybody's doing well. Take care. Peace.